I was lucky to be born in Cameroon, and I currently live here. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start, I would like first of all to give a brief recap what is the African Celebrity Magazine. This magazine was nurtured, incubated, in Klaverstraat, number 111 in Rotterdam, by Mr. Larry Batetakan. Larry Batetakan, when he told me that I would be his MC tonight, I was a bit nervous. Not because I could not speak in public, but because I realized that we have a challenge ahead of us. What made me to stand here today is because I asked myself several questions. I said, if Larry Batetakan can leave Cameroon at a very tender age and go to Ahmadu Bello, Nigeria to study journalism, then I'll walk up to this podium today to be your MC. And today we can see the works of Ahmadu Bello University in practice. The International Celebrity Magazine is published in the print version and the digital format. What is very unique to this magazine is that the editor-in-chief says it's not a magazine about negativity. It is a magazine about promoting the positive image of Africa, which we truly, all of us, need to do. And Mr. Editor-in-Chief, for all your works, I think you're in good footing to put Africa where it's supposed to belong. Ladies and gentlemen, we started late, which I did not apologize, because I know I'll make it even wonderful to compensate. I would like to call Mr. Larry Batetakan, the editor-in-chief of this magazine, to give us a brief welcome speech. Things will be brief today because we are late. Thank you very much, Mr. Larry Batetakan.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Charles Bella. Distinguished guests, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to use this opportunity again to thank you very much. We started very late, as the MC has pointed out. I do apologize from the bottom of my heart. At the same time, I'm very happy to see a number of embassies represented here. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to officially recognize the African diplomats in our presence. I'll start from left to right. Mr. Mustafa Kida is representing the Nigerian embassy. And my dear friend Harris Oshubeni is here to represent the South African embassy. You all know him, Mr. Jean-Baptiste Coué is sitting in for the Cameroon ambassador. I'd like to say the Cameroon ambassador is not present here today because she's not around, but she gave me a phone call and told me to thank all of you on our behalf for being here today. She is very proud of what we've achieved. She's also thankful that you're all here, all the embassies and friends, to support the work of the Cameroon. And I had to relay the message to you all. So please put your hands again together for the Cameroon ambassador, Her Excellency Mrs. Odette Melono, who is still here today. To the left of Mr. Jean-Baptiste Coué is the Deputy Ambassador of the Embassy of Sudan, Mr. Shol Ajongo. For every luncheon, we have a chief luncher. You might have seen him around, but today he is our chief luncher. That's why he is in the midst of the great diplomats. He is the chairman, if I'm not the president, of Afro-Euro, Mr. Vincent Gamba, is our chief luncher for today. Please put your hands together for Mr. Vincent Gamba. Mr. Thomas van Bickum is a retired Dutch diplomat. He was, if I'm not mistaken, the Dutch ambassador to Cameroon, and now retired. Mr. Thomas van Diekum is in the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Thomas van Diekum. I remember when I called and she was so polite on the phone, and we had several discussions back and forth. I remember I was going to Belgium and I had to come back and call her, and she's been so nice. She's the cultural attaché of the Algerian embassy, Mrs. Ramani. The last on the high table is the president of the Friends of Cameroon, Mr. Peter Walker. You must have known the Friends of Cameroon. Well, we don't have a lot of time, but I would like to say that the African Celebrities magazine was conceived about 12 years ago. Then I was working on the radio, and for some reason I was so passionate about starting a magazine. Interestingly, the name African Celebrities Magazine was chosen 12 years ago. For some reason, year after year, I maintained the name. Year after year, nobody took the name. And about 3 years ago, I registered the name at the Chamber of Commerce. And today, we have the African Celebrities Magazine. You see, when I think about what happened since 12 years, holding a concept for 12 years, to me, it's interesting. But what is very interesting is a short story I would like to share with you all. In January this month, I was in Paris, I was in France, to have meetings with some TV personalities, because I was going to start a TV documentary. We had a number of meetings, and we had a phone call from, I had a phone conversation with the director of France 3 Television. And when I left France, it was very certain that I was going to come back and work on my TV documentaries. Everybody I left in France knew that, and they were waiting for me actually to send information back to them in relation to the documentary ideas. Something happened that I cannot explain. That's why I'm sharing this. I drove back from France, and when I got home and walked into my living room, it was as if a voice said to me, "You can't abandon the African Celebrities Magazine. If you start TV documentaries, you're going to forget about the African Celebrities Magazine." I thought about it. It might look silly, but I thought about it because this was like a child, a baby. I had it for 12 years. And the very next day, I went back to work with the African Celebrities Magazine. And everybody in France, I think, thought he must be stupid or there's something wrong with him. They were waiting. I told them, I'm going to finish this project. It was a personal determination that that concept, that idea that I've had for 12 years must come to fruition, must come to reality. And why is African Celebrities Magazine very important to me? It is important to me not because it is a magazine or because I wanted to start a magazine. It is important because of where we stand as Africans today. There has been so much negative reporting about Africa. You see, as a journalist, I learned that, sometimes what is said about you defines you. Sometimes you can shake it off. What is said about you sometimes defines you, sometimes. What you have to do, I'm going to quote a pastor who said, if people talk about you, people keep saying things about you, stand up and also say your own things. That's what the pastor said. So the African Celebrities Magazine was that mirror that I was trying to build, that as Africans, we should be able to have a voice, a strong voice, say the things we want to say, not allow everybody to say things about us, but start saying things that we want to say. We have to define what we want people to hear. We want to define what we want people to say. It was this philosophy, and that word is important to me. It was this philosophy about it that kept me going. That I should start a magazine that is totally positive about Africa. That doesn't get into gossips. That doesn't get does not criticize. I know that criticism sells. Gossip sells. People people are eager to get negative stories, to listen to negative stories. I said to myself, we are going to take the high road. We are going to start a magazine that is not in existence. A magazine that is totally positive, that is there to promote Africans, that's there to report on the achievements of Africans, that is there to inspire Africans, to report on stories of endurance. The bottom line is, I was so serious about starting a positive magazine, a magazine that is totally positive about Africa. And there were two things I considered. I was not only going to start a magazine that is positive about Africa, I was going to start a magazine that is positive about Africa, but of high quality. Because if we want to talk today as Africans in 2010 going forward, we should be able to talk with quality stuff. If you're making pineapple juice, make high quality pineapple juice. Let it speak for you. If you're making TV sets today or cars in Africa, let the cars speak for you. If you're making chairs, let the chairs speak for you. And it's the same thing I thought. If we're going to make a magazine, let it be a high quality magazine. Let it be a high quality magazine that competes with other magazines, international magazines, to be able to get our voice across. Unfortunately, like with everything, printing stuff, there might be one or two technical issues. We know about them. We also appreciate a constructive criticism. But going forward, we are sure about what we want to do. We are certain about our objectives. We know where we are facing, and we are asking everyone sitting here to support this cause. I call it a cause, I call it a philosophy, that today as Africans we can start back and say, I am not afraid to say positive things about you. I don't care whether you pay me back or do not pay me back. I should be able to appreciate an African who achieves something wherever I see him. And that is the objective of the African Celebrities magazine that I want to share with you all. I read a speech from by the editor of a Russian paper. And I was thinking to myself, he's a Russian, he has some views. I mean, all of us share the views that criticism is cheap. It sells. But we have to stand up at times in life and say, we are not going to go with the flow. We're not going to do what everybody does. I can start a magazine that will be so negative and criticize everybody that will sell. But that's not what we're going to do. We are doing what doesn't really sell. We are conscious of that. That's why we need the support of Africans. We need Africans to understand what we're trying to do. We can only make this succeed if we sit back together and say, okay, this is like the only magazine that is so positive and wants to stay positive. We should put all our support to make sure that we have a voice as Africans. Have a magazine or have a publication or have a TV station or whatever that defines what we want the world to see or know about us. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we started late. I do apologize once more. I'm not going to take much of the time again. I want to thank everyone personally from the bottom of my heart for being here. And I want everyone, it's a personal request, that when you leave here, you should be able to go back and share what our objectives are, what the African Celebrities magazine is all about. I am not perfect as the editor. I just started. I might have made one or two mistakes. I need your help. We're talking about Africa. I'm simply the one ahead trying to do something. There is no way I can go forward without having all of you supporting our project. I'd like to thank you once more, and even thank those who called that they could not come for one or two reasons. I hope that when you go back, everything will be fine, you go back safe, knowing that today we shared something about Africa. We shared something about taking a new approach and a bold approach. And and a difficult approach, but that's what we need as Africans. Thank you very much.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I think Mr. Larry Batetakan deserves another applause. He likes to share stories, me too, I like to share stories. Ladies and gentlemen, when Larry gave me this magazine to show it to few people, when they looked at the magazine, the African syndrome started. Is it from West Africa? Is it from North Africa? Is it from this? I told them, this is an African magazine. Whether from North or South, from East to West, in the middle, this is for Africa. Your celebrate may not be there now, but it's still coming. And ladies and gentlemen, we all can be in this magazine. We are the star of Africa. And Larry, thank you very much. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, not only magazine, Larry has written also poems. Larry has a dream and a picture for Africa. And Larry said, when you want to dream or you want to think big. There is a poem that Larry wrote, Africa from Slumber. And there's no other person than Mrs. Yvonne Ngum. Ladies and gentlemen, you will bear with me because Mrs. Yvonne Ngum, as you can see her, she's blessed by God. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give her an applause. And she's going to read us the poem, The Africa from Slumber. Thank you very much, Madam Yvonne.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I am called Busy Yvonne, as Shalibela just said, and I would like to present a poem from the book 50 Great Poems from Larry Batetakan, Pilgrimage of No Retreat. You can find them there. You can get your copy on your way out. They are very interesting. And the title of the poem is Africa from Slumber. Like a dream, she got up from slumber, threw off her borrowed clothes, and ate from her calabash, a calabash born and bred in her. She pushed out her forceful lovemaker, and became the mistress of her home. Her children, in one house gathered, embraced one another as tradition requires, while others bow in respect for elders. She was dressed by her children in fine homemade fibers, dyed and colored in rainbow. Her shoes became of hairy animal skin, and in her home was displayed ebony carved sculptures. From her hand was seized her AK-47, and in it replaced an olive branch. All went to farm together, all ate together, all lived together in a community spiced with love, understanding, and cooperation. There was a head, there was a hierarchy in age, all the African style. This was a dream. How she got up from slumber. Thank you very much.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as she gradually moves back to her seat, she will be reading us a lot of poems today from Mr. Larry Batetakan. I will beg your indulgence that we have excellencies here. And I admire African names a lot because they are very difficult to pronounce. Being an African, sometimes I might have difficulties pronouncing certain names. I'll beg the excellencies that just in case I miss to pronounce an A or an R, it doesn't mean I didn't do phonetics. It's just that some names sometimes, they are so diversified, and that's what makes Africa beautiful too, though. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you this evening is going to be a wonderful evening because I told Larry that Larry, if I want to be an MC, I don't like to make the MC too formal. And this is not an academic discourse or academic situation where people should feel this is a magazine, people should relax and read it. And I told Larry that one thing I'm going to tell people is that there's always that saying that we Africans, we don't read. But I think we read a lot. And for example, each and everyone should make a promise that he will subscribe for a monthly subscription from this magazine. I will not waste your time, but Larry told me one of his best friends, the arrival of the second consul from the Rwandan embassy, I officially recognize the presence of Madame Enid Mbabazi. You see how? Yeah. Mr. Harris, Your Excellency, Larry asked me personally that he would like you to give a word, no matter how small and how short. But we have a South African embassy. Thank you very much. Please, I want to applause for Mr. Harris.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to thank you for coming to this very important occasion. My name is Harry Sushubeng, Third Secretary Political from the South African Embassy here in The Hague. Unfortunately, I did not prepare any speech, but I would like to take this opportunity to extend a word of thanks to Larry and his team for having done such a wonderful thing. You know, I think it is important, like Larry has just said, that Africans must tell their own stories. I'm also impressed to see this magazine, and I had the opportunity to actually look at the magazine, and I'm impressed especially by some of the stories or the issues covered in the magazine, because the magazine covers quite a wide range of issues from culture to politics, and in that way I think it gives us the opportunity to once again see the positive side of Africa and to see what Africa can offer to the world. Like I said, I did not prepare any speech, but once again, let me take this opportunity to thank Larry and his team. I thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Well, good enough, he did not prepare a speech, because actually today is a relaxing day, it's a magazine. So whoever comes here should feel more relaxed. And I'm going to use several words here: promote and support. We need to promote ourselves and support ourselves. The ambassador of Cameroon is not here today, and if she was around, I think she would have been here. But we have the second section of the Cameroon embassy, who is representing Her Excellency the Ambassador of Cameroon, the country where Larry Batitaka originally comes from. It will be my honor at this juncture to call on the Second Secretary of the Cameroon Embassy, Mr. Jean-Patrice Coué, Please give an applause.
Thank you very much, MC. I think that the first one could be is Africans, and really my thing is going to be you, because you're putting out the show here. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here tonight, and I would really like to apologize. I think that Larry and the MC are apologizing, but the one who really owes an apology is me. Came very late due to other constraints. I would really like to apologize. Like I said, it's a pleasure. Not only a pleasure to have our fellow countrymates who are here, but to also have our colleagues from the other embassies. I will not name them. They're colleagues. It's a pleasure to have you here, Mr. Locke. It's a pleasure. We'll go straight to the point. First of all, like Larry mentioned, and also Charlie, the ambassador is not around. She's actually out of the Netherlands. If she would have been here, it would be a pleasure for her to attend this launching. I remember during this is the second launching, in fact, that I've attended. The first one was Pilgrimage of No Retreat. The launching took place some years ago. I read the book, very interesting. I have no need to go over that. I would just like to point a couple of words. Larry, it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure, not only for me personally, but for the Embassy of Cameroon to attend, to support. We've worked very closely with Larry for these couple of years, and we do think that he's doing a tremendous job. This magazine is, like my colleague from the South African Embassy said a couple of minutes ago, it's time for us to say things that we do, positive things that we do in Africa. We have a lot of them. And we do think that you can have it all in this magazine, political, economic, tourism, whatever. We're here to promote our countries. It's all about that. And I do think that not only the embassies, but also the fellow countrymen that are here in the Netherlands, and not only in the Netherlands, abroad, we will support, we will help Larry in this endeavor. And there's also one thing I would like to point out here about our fellow countrymen who are here in the Netherlands. You've been a great support to Larry, and I think that Larry, will not doubt that they've been a great support, and I'm sure that they will continue to do so. Let us just join our hands together to support and to push Larry. And we do think that we will have more Cameroonians that will come up with this type of achievements. Once again, I would like to thank you all for coming out here, and I'm sure that the evening is still long. Well, we started late, but we had a lot of interesting things. Larry, once again, congratulations, and do enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Please, another applause for the second secretary of the Cameroon Embassy, Mr. Jean-Baptiste Goudou. This applause is for the ambassador who is not present because he had the first one, so I'll give the ambassador the second one. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the ACM, on behalf of everybody, I think the going is going good. When I came here earlier, I saw a few people. I almost panicked, but I said, it's not the quantity, it's the quality. And when you look at this magazine, you could see quality. And I went to internet the other day, and when I typed, I saw ACM is already online. Congratulations, Mr. Larry Bate. And it's not. When I looked at it, I compared it to Times Magazine and all the rest, I said, Larry is doing a wonderful job. Another applause for you, ladies and gentlemen. Even the African Union, they have recognized the importance of culture. A few years back, they had a meeting in Khartoum to promote, with the ministers of culture, to promote African culture, because that is where we could maintain our own history and tradition. It is not a coincidence that the Deputy Ambassador of Sudan is here. It is not a coincidence coincidence that we have all the ambassadors who could be here today that are here. It is because they too see that we need to stand up and promote Africa. Nobody will do it for us. It is only us. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I welcome the Deputy Ambassador of Sudan, Mr. I need to work for your name. Mr. Shaw. Thank you very much, and applause for Mr. Shaw.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I won't say much. Some of my colleagues just mentioned exactly what I was supposed to be saying, that we are not prepared, caught off guard, but I'm here. This is about Africa. And exactly as Larry said, that always a lot of negativity about Africa. I'm not a journalist, but there's a saying in Sudan that when the dog bites man, it will be reported because it's not in news. It is usually that dog bites people. But when man bites dog, it has to be reported because it's unusual. So I think that's where the media is coming from. We need to be reported. But these are not all issues that Africa had other part, very positive part of it. So it's really highly appreciated. I personally appreciate, and our colleagues in the embassy, and I talked to my ambassador that I will be attending this thing because he's not in today. He's in Sudan, he's in Khartoum. But he said you need to go and help support, at least morally, the gentlemen that have started this work. And we think this is a big responsibility. And we will put our head together, at least morally, to push to make it through, make it fly. We could see how beautiful they are. Of course, we had writers before that. Africa, black is beautiful, and you can see the glossy nature of these things. And this is what I can say. All Larry, we have been in contact for some time. I missed the first one last time because the time you spoke to me, I was flying to Canada and I couldn't make it. But as I promised at the time, that this one I will have to attend, and I'll make sure you will count on us as the Sudanese Embassy in The Hague. If there's anything to be conducted in that regard, please rest assured that I will always attend, or somebody from my embassy, or one of our colleagues will be attending. Thank you again, brothers and sisters, to see this nice gathering today, and we hope we should do more of this kind of occasions so that we share issues that concerns Africa, especially culturally. And again, thank you, and thank you for our colleagues that are over here. And, I'll stop here. Thank you.
Excellency, thank you very much. And I do appreciate that the Sudan Embassy is willing to help whoever from Africa the embassy is willing to promote them. Larry has beaten a dog by making this magazine. Thank you for that. Please do an applause. Madam Yvonne is going to, I do apologize for making you move because I told you that she's been blessed by God. And she's going to read us the poem live.
Okay, thank you. I'm very strong, don't bother. I can move. Good evening once more, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. As I earlier said, my name is Busy Yvonne, for those who are just coming in. And I would like to present a poem again from the book 50 Fascinating Poems, Pilgrimage of No Retreat, written by Larry Batitakan. The title of the poem is Life. Life, good to those who laugh, bad to those who cry. Good to the happy, bad to the sad, pleasurable to the rich, while the poor.
This is about Africa. And exactly as Larry said, that always a lot of negativity about Africa. I'm not a journalist, but there is a saying in Sudan that when the dog bites man, it will be reported because it's not in news. It is usually that dog bites people. But when man bites dog, it has to be reported because it's unusual. So I think that's where the media is coming from.
Things, all is perception, all is reality, and no is illusion. Live and look not for the meaning of life. Be happy and search not for what happiness consists. Our lives are all different, yet the same. For it is life we all seek, and happiness we all crave. Life is fulfilled best when we love and love. Life is better when our pleasures are cheap. For we can only derive happiness living day after day. Life is a chance to grow a soul. Life is a process and a quest, an experience and a challenge. Yes, but it is one big road with lots of signs. So when we are running on the road, we shouldn't complicate our minds. Life is a succession of moments and lessons. We succeed better if we live each of those moments and learn from each of those lessons. Life is a novel in progress. We write new chapters every day and hope for it to end as a comedy rather than a tragedy. Life is worth living. Be not afraid, but understand. Life is real. Life is earnest. It gives us a chance to love, to work, play, and to look up at the stars. Be glad, therefore, my brothers. Live your life and forget your age. Thank you.
Live your life and forget your age. Ladies and Larry is a bit emotional because she has the family support, and on behalf of the excellencies, on behalf of these gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen, Larry wants us to acknowledge her biological sister who has come from Germany as a surprise.
As a surprise, they said, welcome, Judy. This is my junior sister from Germany.
There is nothing like, at this moment, to have a family beside you to support you. And I would like to thank you. You make me become also emotional and I feel to cry. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, these speeches are going to end soon. Because magazine launching is, we have to enjoy ourselves, we have to relax, we have to look at the magazine, we have to talk to people, we have to know each other. And it is not by coincidence, it is not intentionally, it is just due to respect. For several reasons, I don't know why. But we'll look at things carefully. I'm not a diplomat, and I don't want to go into making certain speeches. I don't want to do that. But out of due respect, before we go to the book launch proper, out of due respect of brotherliness and good neighborhood, it is why I decided tonight to let the representative from the Nigerian embassy, who is closer to us, to be last Excellency to speak tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, give an applause to Mr. Kadi from the Nigerian Embassy. Thank you, sir. Excellent.
Good evening, colleagues. I was just telling the editor that this is my second week in The Hague, and I told some of my colleagues seated here. I've been told by the ambassador to represent her, and this is actually my first occasion outside the embassy. So I feel blessed that it's an African occasion. My ambassador sends best wishes and goodwill to this occasion. She identifies with the project and offers her support to you. I'm sure you've been talking to her, as we said. Yes. I feel personally really honored, being a Nigerian, that Mr. Langley is a product of Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria. So you can see how I can relate with him in that regard. So really, without giving too much, I'm sure we'll have time to. Yes. I also want to express my best wishes and goodwill. Yeah. Thank you.
Another applause from the representative of the ambassador of the Nigerian Embassy. An applause, please. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, when I said he will be the last diplomat to speak, I did not intentionally mean that another diplomat cannot speak. What I meant is that